Joining me now is Louisiana Congressman and House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here. Your reaction to what's taking place downtown in New York? You heard what President Trump just said.
Yeah, good morning. Great to be with you, Maria. And what's happening in New York is it's an embarrassment to the judicial system. The fact that you've got a judge so heavily conflicted, his daughter's making millions of dollars off of this trial. You've got the Democrat Party literally with President Biden's campaign, rolling out an old washed up actor, Robert De Niro, to try to intimidate the jury into getting a guilty verdict, regardless of the facts. They never presented any facts. And yet they don't care. They really don't. And it's doing tremendous damage to the state of New York. Is there any surprise, Maria, that New York is the state that's seeing the exiting of people leaving their state to go to other places? I think people are watching this abuse of the judicial system, lawfare, whatever you want to call it, weaponization of government. It's all there on display before the public's eyes. People see it. And I think most people in America are disgusted by it, whatever they think of President Trump. And I think a lot of people that maybe weren't going to vote for President Trump are looking and saying, wait a minute, I need to give this guy a second look because I don't like what the Democrat Party is doing, from the President of the United States to Democrat DAs who ran on a platform not of putting criminals away, but of just going to find something on Donald Trump. And even if you don't find it, you saw the instructions the judge gave to the jury. Basically, you don't have to be unanimous. Just anything you want to do, just find a way to put this guy away because we don't like him. That's what the Democrat Party is doing in Washington. And I think there are a lot of Democrats across the country that don't agree with this and are going to be voting for Donald Trump. It's why you saw so much support for Trump when he went to speak in the Bronx, when he went to the Jersey Shore. This is real, what's going on out there in real America. And then you've got the Democrat Party's America, which is very different.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, what is this going to mean for the election? I mean, we could see a conviction. We don't know where this is going. Could be a hung jury, could be a conviction. But what do you think in terms of the impact on the election 5 months away?
I think most people have already factored this in, and you can see the polling. Every big bombshell, gee whiz, Cohen's going to give some great testimony. Well, Cohen will say whatever he wants to. You see the guy's a serial liar. He's a convicted perjurer. And I'm sure the jury saw that too. But, at the end of the day, most Americans have been following this circus. And I think that's what they view it as. They view it as a circus and an abuse of the judicial system. So whatever verdict comes out, they know it's so skewed that it's not reflective of what's really happening in America. What they're furious about are what you just showed up on that last segment, the prices that they're paying for everything. They cannot go to a fast food store anymore because of Joe Biden's America. We've got millions of people that have come across our border, including people from countries that want to do us harm, people on the terrorist watch list, people that are murdering our own citizens in every community in America. That's what Joe Biden has gotten us, and Donald Trump will fix those problems, and people know that.
Well, let's talk.
And people, I think, are hungry for real leadership.
Let's talk policy for a second, because a top Israeli official is predicting that the war against Hamas could go on for at least another 7 months, and that targeting Rafah is, quote, not pointless, he said. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby is still talking about what Israel should do and shouldn't do, but he said Israel has not crossed a red line. Watch this.
There is a fresh proposal that's being worked, and I can tell you that the Israelis are fully supportive of this fresh proposal, and as before have been willing to deal in good faith on this. We still have not seen a major ground operation in Rafah in the manner I described it as yesterday, which large amounts, thousands and thousands of troops moving in a coordinated fashion against, maneuvering against a variety of targets on the ground in a very aggressive way.
What do you think, Congressman? I mean, the White House is promising to reconstruct the failed Gaza pier in order to get more humanitarian aid into the region. Part of the $320 million project broke off and floated away on Tuesday. Your reaction to the status of affairs in Gaza and Hamas?
Yeah, and first of all, the only reaction from the United States should be to support our friend and ally Israel, who has been under attack since October 7th. There is a war going on, and Hamas, a terrorist organization, is the group that declared that war, that went in and brutally murdered Israelis and Americans, by the way. There are still hostages that are both American, Jewish, Israelis. Why isn't the United States being more unequivocal in their support of Israel? And I think that's what people are frustrated by. The pier was yet another debacle brought to you by the people that brought you the Afghan withdrawal. You know, we've got to get a realignment and some real accountability in our military. When major mistakes are made, there is absolutely no accountability, and they just continue to just kind of give this soft support to our allies. You saw what's happening in Ukraine, where but Joe Biden put limitations on the missiles that were given to Ukraine, saying, well, you just can't shoot into Russian territory where all the Russian troops are.
Yeah.
Well, that means that's just going to drag that conflict out even longer instead of trying to end this thing sooner. Joe Biden wants a long, elongated war, and frankly, more loss of life amongst Ukraine soldiers with the limitations Joe Biden put on. When he did this in Israel, you've seen the same things where he's telling them, don't go into Rafah. Well, that's where Hamas is.
Right.
These are the people that are trying to kill Jews and others in Israel. And that's Israel's got to defend their country. And our only statement should be that we support our ally. And, you know, the pier, $300+ million of money thrown in the trash can.
Yeah.
Over half the aid was stolen by Hamas.
I got to get to the work in the House, because House Republicans are planning an aggressive government funding strategy for fiscal year 2025. You're aiming to mark up 12 spending bills before the August recess. The Appropriations Committee already approving legislation to fund military, construction, Veterans Affairs, and related agencies last week. But House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is coming after you, saying that he's coming after the GOP spending plan. Watch this.
The extreme MAGA Republican majority has unnecessarily decided to engage in political stunts and gamesmanship by marking up appropriations bills that have zero chance of becoming law. The extreme MAGA Republicans who understand that dynamic are trying to shut down the government and hurt the American people in advance of the November election.
How ridiculous. You want to hurt the American people ahead of the election. Look, you're leading this charge. What's your reaction to these charges?
Yeah, that's quite rich coming from somebody who literally voted against every single appropriations bill that came out of the House last year. You know, Maria, we passed over 80% of bills to fund the government last year, long before the deadline, so there would be no government shutdown. And Hakeem and almost every other Democrat voted no. They voted against funding the government, so they wanted a government shutdown. And I'm sure they're just setting up the stage for another series of no votes. You know, we're going to bring 12 bills that fund government, and we're going to have a robust debate on spending. They have spent so much money that people can't afford to leave their house to go to a fast food restaurant, Maria, and they want to keep spending money that we don't have. We identified over $250 billion in illegal payments going to people that aren't even real people, tax credits to illegal aliens. And they want to keep doing that. They want to send your money to people that aren't even here legally. So this is what we're trying to get under control so that we can get our economy moving again. And we're going to move the bills, and we're going to let them vote for those bills.
All right. We'll be watching your work. Thanks very much for being here this morning. Great to see you. Steve Scalise.
Great being with you. Thanks,
All right.
Maria.
We'll see you soon. Steve Scalise in Louisiana. Stay with us. We'll be right back.